And so if you look at Matthew 10:32 and 33, Jesus tells us exactly what we have to do. He says, therefore, everybody who will acknowledge me before others, I will also acknowledge him before my Father in heaven. But whoever denies me before others, I will also deny him before my Father in heaven.
You're listening to Real Men Talk with Anthony Curnutt and Kyler Sal, a podcast designed to challenge, encourage, and equip men to live out biblical masculinity and become strong leaders in their homes, churches, and communities.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Real Men Talk. Today, we're back in the studio with Kyler, and we are talking about standing firm in our faith. I think this is something that is extremely relative. The more I think about it, the more I think about the fact that how many people that I know, that sometimes you don't even know if they are a Christian or not.
Yeah.
And we're quickly, in the culture in which we live, we're quickly coming to this moment where that's not even going to be an option.
Right.
It's not. We're either going to have to stand for what we believe, or we are going to fall in with the fold.
Yeah.
When people who like to play Christian, people who like to take on the name of Christian, we'll go to church, we do this and we do that, will drastically change when you start to lose your job or your pension or your life even, all of those types of things. And it's quickly getting there.
Yeah.
For us, Kyler, you and I, it's a little bit different where we live, right? Because we live in Southeast Missouri. So it's like, we live in the Bible Belt, right? But you see on the news all over the place of people who do lose their job for standing for truth, who do, even lose their life.
Yeah.
And where are we going to stand as men?
Right.
This is something that we have to think about.
Yes.
This is something that we have to take and we have to process. What are we going to do when that hits here?
Yeah.
Right? When that hits home, are we really going to take a stand for truth? Does truth really matter that much to us?
Right.
Is it, even in, colleges, even in all these different things. My sister, she's going to be a writer, and she was taking these classes, and I can't remember what it was, but she wrote, whatever she had wrote was biblical, and her professor didn't like it. You know what I mean? And it was one of those things that, okay, so do you change it?
Right.
Or do you stand for truth?
Yeah.
Right. Do we say, and we're getting there.
Right. Well, oftentimes we just go with the loudest voice.
Right.
Whatever's the loudest one against us, whatever that may be. Because it's very easy when you're around a body of like-minded believers to be a Christian.
Yes.
It's what are you going to be like when you're not around those people?
That's
when you're
exactly
out at Walmart, per se, and you see protesters, or you go to an event and that is right, but there's protesters outside. Like where do you fall into that category? I mean, think about Peter. When Jesus was being sentenced to death, and he said, Peter, you're going to deny me 3 times. Peter's like, no, I will never deny you, because he was around them. And then when he gets around them and the lady's like, hey, you're one of Jesus' followers. He's like, no, I'm not. Yeah. Like which one are you going to be? It's very easy when you're around people who believe just like you, who say things that live like you, to say, yes, I'm a Christian, because they support you in that belief. But when you get into a college campus, when you are a kid or a young man who is headed to college
or high school,
or even your job, like you're headed to a place where you know that the majority is not Christians. Yeah. Will you still say that you're a Christian? Will you still identify with Christ? Or are you just going to blend in and do whatever they do?
Yeah. I had a real instance. This is funny that you brought that up, but we had this guy I was working with, and he knew I was a Christian, and he told me, he's like, I'm going to make it my goal for you to be out here cussing. That's what he told me.
Okay.
He's like, by the time we're done, I'm going to have you cussing. I was like, nah, you're not.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not going to happen. You're going to tick me off. I may beat the trash out of you.
But I'm not going to cuss.
But I'm not going to cuss.
You won't beat me. I'll beat you, but you won't beat me.
But and that didn't happen either.
Just for clarity.
Yeah, just for clarity. That didn't happen either. But I mean, people really are.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even really know how to put this, but people really are against Christianity as a whole.
Right.
And here's the thing. This is the reason why it's important for us to take a stand, because what we do as Christians challenges, right?
Yeah.
The world.
Right.
The reason why he doesn't want me to live a faithful life, even though it doesn't matter. What does it matter to him?
Right.
It matters nothing.
Mm-mm.
It is not. It doesn't change the way that he lives or anything. But just my very existence brings conviction to his.
Yes. Well, we're creatures of affirmation. And so when we're around people who act like us, we're affirmed.
Yes.
When we get around people who are not like us, we get kind of our guards are up, and we want them to be like us. And so we will do whatever we can to try to make them like us, or make us seem like we're like them. Right. One of the two. And so in that situation, he knew that you weren't like him, and that maybe you would look down upon him because, Christians, we get that bad rep that we just judge people everywhere we walk, which is not true, but it's not true. There's that. We love you no matter what. We may not agree with your belief, but we love you.
Right.
But he just knew that there was this animosity that he could create and try to make you like him.
Right.
And you were never going to be that person. You were never going to go that way. But that's where we drift. We drift towards people who, and sometimes that's a very big difference. Like, you're not a cusser. Like, that's a very big draw. Mm-hmm. But there are some times where, you go to a restaurant per se, and you're out on a business trip, and you're a Christian and you don't drink, but everybody else around you is drinking, and they bring you one. They're like, oh, it'll be fine. We're all doing it. You just do one drink. They're not always big things. That's just one thing and you're done. You move on with your life. Okay. But what you then became who they wanted you to be.
Right.
And that's the trap that we fall into, is we slowly become who the world wants us to be, not who God called us to be. And that's where you were in that situation. He was trying to make you of the world, and you were trying to stay away from the world. Yes. And that's where we have to decide, is we are called to be not a part of the world, but to transform the world.
That's right.
But we as Christians, we don't want to take that stand to do so.
Right. And this is the reason why it is important for us to prepare to take a stand. Mm-hmm. Right. You think of a military. Mm-hmm. Okay. They're going to go in and they're going to capture somebody. Mm-hmm. Right. Now,
Delta Force.
Yeah, something really awesome. Delta Force, the Navy SEALs, the Special Force, whatever it is. They don't, going into that building, they will be the very best educated that they can be.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right. They will know every room. Mm-hmm. Right. Now, going in there, anything can happen. Right. And they understand that. There's always an opportunity for chaos.
Right.
Right. But what they do is they go in and they train over and over and over. They will know the layout. They will know, how many people are in there. They will know, all of these different things. They will be completely prepared.
Right.
And they had run that building as many times as possible to prepare for that. Right.
Yes.
They prepare every scenario that could possibly happen. Mm-hmm. This is how we fix it. Us as men, we don't do that.
Right.
We don't think of, we just live our entire lives on a whim.
Yeah.
Right. We don't think about, okay, so what happens if I go to Walmart and somebody challenges me,
Yeah.
right? If or I come across somebody and I get the opportunity to lead somebody to Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or you know, how many times have I've been guilty of this, right? How many times do you miss an opportunity because you were not prepared,
Right.
right? You know, and you walk away and you're going, wait a minute, I had a real opportunity here that I missed.
Right. It's one of those moments where you're like, I could have said this.
Right.
Like you walk away from an argument with your wife, you're like, I should have brought this point up. It's fine. It's like, yeah, because you don't prepare.
Right. You don't prepare. I
And
had an instance one time. We were at a mall.
Mhm.
Here, you know, close to, not too far from Papa Bluff. And we were at this mall and it was just me and my wife.
Mhm.
I'll never forget this moment. It haunts me. Not really haunts me, but it is, I mean, it's something that I think about that drives me to be better.
Right.
I shouldn't say haunt, but it drives me, right?
Right.
I remember there was this couple and they had this little girl
Mhm.
and she had like cerebral palsy or something like that. And she was like in this wheelchair, you know, and if you know anything about cerebral palsy, I mean, it's you can't hide it.
Right.
Right. And the Lord told me to go pray for this girl.
Mhm.
Like I knew that he was telling me to go pray for this girl. And I was like, we're in the middle of this mall. You know, what am I
Right.
even supposed to say to the parents, right?
I didn't bring my anointing oil. I can't go over there.
Yeah, I made up all these excuses.
Mm-hmm.
All these excuses, and I walked away. I was not prepared for that moment,
Mm-mm.
right? And I missed a moment. I'm telling you right now, I know that I missed a moment.
Yeah.
The Lord had told me to do it, right? We miss these opportunities because we are not prepared. So I tell that story. I tell it myself for this reason. When it comes to taking a stand, that doesn't happen accidentally,
Right.
right? That's intentional.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think about Daniel,
Mm-hmm.
right? You know, everybody knows about the story about Daniel, you know, or hopefully you know about the story about Daniel in the lion's den. You know, the king was manipulated into signing this creed that they couldn't worship anybody else but the
Right.
king
Mm-hmm.
for this many hours or this many days or whatever it was. And Daniel, and I love in Daniel 6, I love the way that they describe Daniel, that he went and he opened his upper room
Mm-hmm.
and he prayed as he always did. Now that was not into direct defile
Right.
of the creed. This is something he did every day.
Yes.
He was prepared for this,
Mm-hmm.
right? And because of that, right, we all know that he ended up in the lion's den. The Lord
Yep.
saved his life, right? And those people who manipulated the king ended up being eaten by lions.
Sorry about you.
Yeah.
Don't test God.
But the thing is that it was what he did consistently.
Right.
He was prepared for that moment. That I don't care what the creed says. I don't care what the law says. I don't care what any person tells me I can or cannot do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to stand for God.
Yes.
Not because, I'm just going to defile you,
Right.
but because this is what I do.
Yes. Yes. And we have to be able to have that type of, because we're getting into the days where it's not going to be as easy to do.
Right.
Whether it, and being truthful here, sometimes it may cost you your life.
Yes.
And that's the price that you either have to be willing to pay. And we know that on the other side of this, that the price is worth it.
Yes.
But you have to have that real talk in your head, those real thoughts in your head that not everybody, even though we're in Southeast Missouri, is going to agree with us. And sometimes that may be to the extreme, and sometimes it just may be an argument.
Right.
And you have to think about those things. I mean, even when you walk out your door, you never know where God's going to place you, what God's going to put toward you. I mean, think about your mall situation. You had no idea going into this, but that's what we have to constantly think. We have to be in season, out of season. We have to study thyself approved unto God. We have to make sure that we are constantly in the word so that we can use the word. There's nothing that we can do at all to prove to anybody that God exists except for God revealing himself in his own time to everybody.
Right.
Okay. We can use all of our experiences day in and day out. And yes, may change their thinking. It may change their life, but until they're willing to accept Christ, to come into their hearts and change them, there's nothing we can do.
Right.
The only thing we can do is try our best to do what the Lord has instructed us to do, and that's to share the gospel.
Right.
And he's talked to and the hard part about that is sometimes we don't know where to start. We don't know what to say, how to say it. All we know is that we need to make sure that we go out and we talk about God every now and then. But most people just see it. I mean, going back to what you're talking about, the guy trying to get you to cuss, he knew he wasn't going to. He's seen it in you.
Mm-hmm.
He's seen it. And the fact that he's trying to do that was trying to get you to go counterintuitive to what you always wanted to do. And when people see things that we're not going to do, like my boss at work, he cusses. He throws the F word out all the time. But when he's around me now, he apologizes because he knows we're not doing that around me. You can, whatever you do in your car, wherever else is fine. Around me, that's not the standard.
Right.
And not because I judge him for it. He just knows that that's not what I do. That's not how we're going to act. And so he changes it because we go out, because that's the stand that I'm willing to take is, hey, this is how we're going to act. This is the biblical expectation of me. And that's the biblical expectation I'm going to uphold.
Right.
And when we go out in public and we do those types of things, we have to make sure that we're studying the word, that we're taking that stand and making examples of us when we go out with it.
Right. You know, in our life, you know, we're called to be the light on the hill.
Yes.
To be salt. Right. And when you think about what that means, when you think about being able to see a lighthouse, right, from a long distance, you don't have to guess, you know, what a lighthouse is.
Right.
You don't have to, you know, these people who are in these ships and stuff like that, they don't have to guess. Is that a lighthouse, or is that like a, you know, like a distant star, or is that, you know what I mean?
Right. What is it?
They know. We are called to be that light. Right? This is what we do. Do our children see us taking a stand for truth? Do our wives see us taking a stand for truth? Do our wives see us serving? Do they see us being honest? Do they see us as critical thinkers? This is something. So I was reading a book called Tactics by Greg Koukl.
Yeah.
Have you ever read it?
Nope. Ask me how many books I've read. 2. Yeah.
So he's got this book called Tactics, and basically what it is just different tactics on sharing your faith, how to be, you know, different scenarios. But one of the things that he talks about, one of the strategies that he talks about in this book is running through scenarios, right, in your head of how a conversation could go.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it really is
simple, but good.
It really is simple. And it doesn't take a whole lot of thought process, right? I mean, you know, you talk about sharing your faith, and a lot of it is more of the apologetic side of it, right? Defending your faith and different things like that, you know, how not to get steamrolled and how to manage the conversation and keep the, you know, the ball in their court, you know, different things like that. Just real basic things that we just don't think about. But the fact to take that and be like, okay, we're going to run through these scenarios, right? You know, if you've ever taken any kind of, like concealed carry course, okay, they'll tell you to do the same thing, right? Run through scenarios in your house, you know, have an escape plan. I mean, that's basically the same thing, right? You know, if God forbid this one thing happens, this is what we're going to do.
Oh yeah,
right. You know, and so mentally, when it happens, you be like, wait a minute, I've already thought this out. Okay, we have to do this, right? So being prepared to stand for our faith is a lot like that.
Yes.
Right. It is a lot like having those scenarios played out when somebody comes to me and they're hurting.
Yeah.
They need prayer. This is something that, and not only is it intentional, but it's also practiced.
Right.
Right. I remember a couple of times, you know, being in the church and you know, you have people come up and they'll be like, oh man, you know, this happened, and you know what's the famous one line? I'll be praying for you. And I remember being really convicted about that. You know, and I would pray for them,
right?
But they needed prayer, and I'm like, wait a minute, I believe in the Bible. I believe in laying on of hands. So why am I waiting to pray for these people?
Right.
Why am I not praying for them right now?
Exactly.
So what happened was, before that, I was not prepared for that. It's almost like it caught me off guard. And I'm going, and I remember practicing this.
Mm-hmm.
And I was working at this factory, and it was funny because as soon as this happened, of course, I'm at factory. This guy comes up to me, and he's like, "Man," he said, "this guy," and I'm like, "We're gonna pray for you right now."
Yeah,
right in the middle of this factory. I don't care if there's 1,000 people here or not. I don't care. This is what we're doing, right? And to practice those things in which we are, trying to figure out. It's no different. You don't go into a basketball game without practice.
Right.
You don't go into any kind of sporting event unpracticed, right? You will always go in as prepared as you possibly can, and the thing is when it comes to taking a stand for Christ, that's what we do.
Yes.
We are as practiced as possible. One of the reasons why people don't take a stand, one of the reasons why people don't want to speak up is because they don't know. They don't know.
Mm-mm.
They don't know. When somebody challenges you, challenges what you believe or challenges something you said, and you're going, this is something we do in apologetics a lot, right? This is the point, is not to always be right, but to be prepared.
Right.
Be prepared to share your faith. Okay, so I understand that I may not completely understand what you are saying, but I am prepared for an answer that will give a clarification that Jesus is Lord.
Right.
Right. That's because that's what all boils down to, right?
Yeah.
That's who we're taking the stand for.
Yes. And so if you look at Matthew 10:32 and 33, Jesus tells us exactly what we have to do. He says, "Therefore, everybody who will acknowledge me before others, I will also acknowledge him before my Father in heaven. But whoever denies me before others, I will also deny him before my Father in heaven." And the context behind these verses is that Jesus is about to send out his 12 disciples to go out into the world and to preach the gospel. And he commands the disciples to proclaim far and wide what he whispers to them now. Persecution will come to them. He doesn't tell them, he doesn't lay out this nice, lavish life that they're going to live. He's like, people are going to kill you. They're going to try to come after you. They're going to try to harm you. But he says persecution will come to them, but they must not be afraid. Their enemies can only kill their bodies. They should fear God instead and understand that the Father cares for them. He will see if they fall. Jesus declares that he too will acknowledge to his Father that everyone who acknowledges him to others, those who deny his identity as God's son, however, will also deny him. We talk about, taking the stand, but there's an eternal consequence for not.
That's exactly right.
And that's the hard part, is just because you walk out your door and you make a decision, every decision that you make determines whether you're going to eternity or not.
Yes.
And we have to take that stand, because if we deny the Father on this side, he will deny us on that side. I don't know you. I never knew you. And that's probably the scariest thing. And I know I watched this guy. He's like, this is probably the scariest thing in the Bible, is for Jesus to look at me and say, I never knew you. And you think this whole time you're doing the best that you can or whatever, but it's because we're doing it by our standards, not his standards.
Right.
We're not doing it by the biblical standard. And he tells us right there, so everyone who acknowledges me before men, I will also acknowledge before my Father who is in heaven. But whoever denies me before men, I will also deny before my Father. It's an eternal consequence for not. And yes, we make light of it, in different situations, but the fact is that that's a heavy consequence. You have to take the stand no matter what.
Right.
Because he tells you it's not going to be easy. He never said that it's going to be easy. He says, actually, let me see if I can find that verse again. I think it was Luke 14:27. He said, whoever does not bear his own cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. And think of the hardness that it was for Jesus to bear his own cross. It wasn't easy. I mean, he had to carry it, had to pick it up, carry it, bleeding, torn, everything else. Nothing says that the journey to salvation is easy, to eternity is easy, to taking a stand for Christ is easy. But he does say, I've got you. I'll be with you along the way. It may not be easy. And at the very end, you may die for it.
Right.
But the
Yes.
eternal reward is greater than anything we're going to face here. And that verse says they can only kill your bodies.
That's right.
That's it.
That's it. That's it. You know, and the world's not going to make it easy on us.
Mm-mm.
They hate gospel. They hate the fact that something would challenge the way that they want to live.
Right.
Right? Romans chapter 1, verses 18, it says, "For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who hold the truth of unrighteousness, because that which they may be known of God is manifest in them. God hath showed it unto them. For the invisible things from creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse, because that when they knew God, they glorified him not as God, neither were they thankful, but became vain in their imaginations, and their foolish hearts was darkened." You know, and I think about the light of Christ
Right.
being shown in our lives, radiating from us. It brings this sense of accountability, right? Just our very presence. And this isn't something that we should hide from. This isn't something that we should try to diminish in our lives. This is something we should be proud of.
Yes.
Right? That I have Jesus in my life. Therefore, it makes people who do not know Jesus uncomfortable around me. Right? Not because I want them to be uncomfortable.
Right.
Right? That's not what it's about. It is about the fact that Jesus set a standard.
Yes.
And
yes.
I will follow that standard. And if it makes you uncomfortable, it is because you need Jesus.
Yes.
And I love you enough, right? Here's the thing. I love you enough to tell you that you need Jesus.
Yes.
Right? I will show you Jesus, even if the only Jesus you will ever see is in my life. Right?
Yes.
Is me walking by, is this one encounter that we have together, this one experience that you have, or the fact that you have to see me from across the factory, or you have to see me across the town, or you have to, right? You will see Christ in my life.
Yes.
This is part of taking a stand.
Yes. Yes.
This is part of it.
Oh, yeah. And it's not easy. None says it's going to be easy. But I like this question. It says, if your faith were put on trial, would there be enough evidence to convict you? And at the end of the day, there should be. And if not, think about it. Think about what you can do to have a more solid stance with God,
right?
With Christ. What can you do? Does that go to church more? Is it involved in a life group? Is it, doing a devotional time? Is it getting involved in ministry? Is it serving more? Is it tithing? Is it whatever the Lord will reveal to you how you can take a firmer stance. But I can tell you that 99% of the time it's going to be digging into his word. So that way there is not a opportunity that you can't pass up where you can't be a witness.
That's right.
Or you can't be a tool that he can use.
Yeah. Man, it's so important for us to understand that there are lives at stake.
Yeah.
I know that we talk about our children and our wives and our families and stuff like that a lot, and all that is true. All that is extremely true.
Yeah.
Us taking a stand for truth, us being that leader that God has called us to be, is leading them to the feet of Jesus, right?
Yes.
But at the same time, every time we walk out of those doors, and I'll be the first one to admit, I'm not good at this, right? I'm more of an introvert than I am an outrovert, right? So talking and having conversations with people is difficult for me.
Extrovert. He has no idea.
No.
It's introvert and extrovert. You're like, I'm an outrovert.
Oh, yeah, whatever. You know what I mean?
See, he can't even talk, and there's nobody here.
That's right. But so having conversations with strangers is difficult for me.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it is. It's extremely difficult. But my life has to show Jesus. There are people that are dependent. Their salvation may be dependent on that conversation that we have, or just me showing kindness and showing love. It is so important for us to understand that, and we talk about this all the time in the men's group, the influence God has given us, and men not understanding the tool that God has given us to influence the people around us for him.
Yeah.
For him, that we have no idea that when we walk into a Walmart, or we walk into a grocery store, or we show up on the job, or we, whatever it is, our influence is the tool that God has given us to show other people Jesus in our life.
Yes.
Right? Jesus in our life. Right? And that's not always just a conversation. Sometimes it's the way that we handle things.
Right.
Right. Sometimes it is the way that we speak, the way that we handle situations, the way that we, where the places we will go, the places we won't go, the things that we will do, the things that we won't do.
Right.
Right. I will not be dishonest. Right. I will hold integrity. I will do this. Right. Those things are biblical. And the thing is, so the other day I had a guy, I try to do this a lot. I try to be as encouraging as I possibly can. I work in a construction field, right? We lay pipe, we do, run heavy equipment and stuff like that. The culture is very rough.
Yeah, I bet.
Very rough. And, and this is not trying to pat myself on the back. This is something I consistently try to do. And I try to uplift people as often as I possibly can. And I had this guy that works with me, and I was like, man, I said, I don't know if anybody's told you today, I'm glad that you're here. Right. It's just, right. And I just randomly do it, and he said, how do you always stay so positive? Gave me it over. I said, Jesus, and so I went on this thing about, literally, Jesus is the reason why I am encouraged. Jesus is the reason why I love you.
Yeah.
He's the reason why, and so I was able to witness to him right there. And because of the way that I treat him, he sit there and listened to all of it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That is taking that stand. It's not always, as men, we think of taking a stand of, guns and fighting and all. It's not. Sometimes it's just kindness.
Yes.
Let me show you Jesus. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it. And it's not always easy.
No.
Right? It's not always easy to be kind. It's not always easy. And as many times as I've gotten it right, I promise you there's more times I've gotten it wrong.
Right.
That I have lost my temper, that I have handled a situation, poorly.
Yeah.
Or, I've let somebody get underneath my skin, not cuss. He's never made me cuss, but I may have threatened to drag him off the excavator.
Right.
But
not confirming nor denying that I may have said this.
Right. But my point is we may not always get it right.
Right.
But the fact that we are still consistent, even through those moments when we do get them wrong.
Yes.
We're like, okay, I will own that.
Right.
Right. I will own that. And I messed up. And I will continue to do what the Lord has put me here to do, to be that encouragement, to be that light. Right. It still opens up opportunities for me to take stands for him.
Yes.
So, well, as we land this plane, I want to encourage you as a listener to be very intentional about being encouragement, being that light in a dark place. When I think of the listeners that we have, I think of probably all the different things that they do, right? I know that we have people who work in factories. I know that we have people who, work construction. I know that we have people who work, in offices, and so you have, so all these different types of people running, doing all these different types of things, encountering different types of people. There is no cookie cutter scenario.
Right.
It's always different. And I want to encourage you that no matter where you're at, prepare yourself.
Yeah.
Right. Just as Daniel did, as he always did, he went up to that room. When things changed, when things got hard, it didn't rattle him, because it was just what he always did.
Yes. Well, and there's that, and I've never believed this more than the seasons I've been put in, is when you believe in Christ, there is a peace that really does surpass all understanding. You don't know why, everything's falling down around you, but you're at peace.
Yes.
And you know why, because it's Jesus.
Right.
But you don't understand it. You're like, God, I'm sitting here and everything around me is falling down. But I know you got it.
Right.
And I 100% believe in that situation, because he was faithful in the small things.
That's right.
God was like, I got you.
Yes.
And Daniel was like, I know you do. And there was that peace.
Right. And that only comes from his preparation. Right. He probably didn't feel that way every time he said a prayer.
No.
Right. He didn't feel that way every time he got up there. And it says that he prayed 3 times a day, every day. Right. Taking the time out, getting down there and praying. I'm sure some days it was difficult.
Yeah.
It was hard. He didn't want to, or whatever, that is. It's not always easy, but his consistency and his preparation, when the times did hit, it's like, I know God's got this.
Yep.
Right. And so I want to encourage you guys to be faithful. It's not always pretty. It's not always fun. It's not always, getting up at 4:15 in the morning to read your Bible and pray and, all those things. It's not always enjoyable.
Right.
But it's necessary.
Yes.
It is absolutely necessary. And so I want to encourage you guys to be a part of that. If you guys have got questions for us, email us realmen@palaceofpraise.com. You can find us, you can message us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and, know that God loves you. And as much as you want to be that light, he wants you to be that light. Yes. He wants to be there for you. He wants to see you succeed as a husband, as a father, as a leader, as a coworker. And I really want to encourage you guys to really dig in there. And even though it may be difficult, it will be rewarding.
Yep.
So as always, I want to enter a prayer. Holy Spirit, guide us, direct us, birth hunger in us for your word, for you, for Jesus, that even though it may seem like a battle to be in our word, to pray, to be that light, that you will always there with us, that you will strengthen us, Lord. And when those moments come, you will bring to remembrance, just as your word says, the things that need to be said, the encouraging words that need to be said, Lord, the things the actions that need to be played out. Yes. That you will be there with us, and that in the end, that you will be glorified through our lives. I want to thank you for all of our listeners, and I ask you, Lord, to just pour your Spirit upon them. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thanks for listening to Real Men Talk with Anthony Curnutt and Kyler Sal. If this conversation helped you grow, don't keep it to yourself. Share this episode and check out Framework for Biblical Masculinity as you continue leading your home, church, and community.